Hey, yo, what's up, guys? So, Scott Jennings totally eviscerated this entire CNN panel here when they were talking about the Renee Nicole Good shooting that occurred a couple days ago. So, let's hear what he had to say.
I agree with you, Jonathan. I think there's some details we don't know yet, and we'll have to learn more about it. What strikes me is, first of all, it's extremely sad and unfortunate that someone died. I mean, the political fighting and disagreements aside, it's terrible. You don't want people to die in law enforcement situations or otherwise. But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country in an effort to obstruct lawful federal law enforcement activities? This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, had been tracking ICE agents around. Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, but that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department and try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people about this?
It does strike me, Scott.
Okay, so Scott's 100% correct here. Like, what if Democrats, politicians, and the mainstream media have been, labeling ICE agents as Nazis, fascists, for the past few years? That's all we've heard. And that's radicalized this entire base of leftist lunatics to go out on the streets. And they're not even just peacefully protesting. How many videos have you seen on social media of them, trying to block ICE agents, impede them, obstruct them from doing their jobs? This is Trump's mandate. The people voted for this. And, like it or not, they're just doing their job. Now, these people have been radicalized by the mainstream media and politicians that you see stupid shit like this. Now, watch this clip here. This is a clip of a woman in Portland who encounters an ICE agent in his vehicle, and watch what she does here.
Please park behind them. Can you put your car behind them, please? It's ICE. Put your car there. They're going to move. Hurry, please. Hurry. Park your car sideways, please. Hurry. Oh, you fucked up. Dumb bitches. You're not going anywhere.
Now, this happened yesterday, a day after the Renee Good shooting, but these liberal retards still are going out on the streets trying to mess with ICE. Like, again, you can peacefully protest, ICE all you want. But the moment you use your vehicle to, try and block ICE from doing their job, you should be sent to jail. Like 100%. This chick should be sent to jail. She's trying to encourage other citizens to block ICE agents. These are federal officers, mind you. Okay, so now let's take a look at the second clip of Scott Jennings eviscerating another host on CNN.
Does that mean you can impede a law enforcement officer?
No, but that wasn't the case on January 6th either, and they were pardoned. And just this week, they were marching down the street to the Capitol again. Why are you shaking your head?
Because this cannot be your go-to.
But no, I'm not saying that.
On January 6th,
I am pro law enforcement.
Democrats said we're pro law enforcement. Today they say they're Gestapo. Which is it? Which is it?
No, I will say the vast majority of Democrats are pro-law enforcement, and we believe that law
Tim Walz,
enforcement...
he says they're Gestapo.
Let me finish.
He says they're Gestapo.
Scott,
do you agree?
Scott, let me finish. I do not agree. Let me finish. Many Democrats, and the vast majority of them, are pro-law enforcement. They believe that law enforcement should actually get the training that they deserve and they need. Hold on, I'm not done. Hold on.
You don't know about this guy's training.
Let me tell you.
Stop implying that he's not trained.
In Minnesota,
he was dragged by a car last summer.
They
call them the Gestapo, Sochi.
They're pro-law
enforcement. They call them murderers.
And
they call them Nazis.
Why is it one rule for ICE And why is it another rule for the Capitol Police or the Republican Party? Can you answer that question?
I have the same rule for all law enforcement. I think we should
But the
respect all law
administration
enforcement.
has two rules.
You all have
One-
select
I-
one
I
day a
guess
year.
one rule
One day
for
a year you
January
like the
6th
cops.
officers.
Well, look,
the other 364 days
listen,
you call them the Gestapo.
but listen,
That's the
That's not-
Democratic
That
position.
is not what the Democratic position is.
Okay, so Scott Jennings was cooking. Whenever Abby Phillips, tries to cut him off, interrupts him. She does it all the time. I bet the producers in our ear are probably like, yo, cut that, end that shit right away. But anyways, I don't know what this chick Sochi is talking about, that the Democrats are for law enforcement, federal officers. No, they're not. They wanted to defund the police for the last 5 years. What are you talking about? You know, they've demonized every level of law enforcement, federal officers, ICE agents. They've labeled these guys Nazis, fascists, Gestapo. And that's why you have these radical leftists out on the streets, protesting. And they're not even peacefully protesting. They're blocking, they're impeding, they're obstructing federal officers from doing their job. Like, this is just insane. And I don't understand how Democrats cannot see this. Now, Scott Jennings mentioned something interesting in that clip, that the federal officer who shot and killed Renee Good was in an incident 6 months ago. Watch what happened to him 6 months ago in a similar incident.
ICE arrest in the Twin Cities is leading to even more charges.
This home security video shows a driver taking off during a traffic stop, dragging a deportation officer with him. New at 10, WCCO's Uba Ali walks us through this video and the political firestorm behind it.
What began as a planned federal immigration arrest took a violent turn in this quiet Bloomington neighborhood. And it was all caught on camera. According to a federal complaint, agents were executing a warrant for 39-year-old Roberto Carlos Munoz. They say Munoz entered the country unlawfully, and he also pled guilty to fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 2023 for abusing a minor. Tuesday morning, agents pulled him over. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath. A bloody agent who needed 33 stitches for his significant cuts. And now a political battle with a top Homeland Security official criticizing Governor Tim Walz, posting on X, instead of comparing ICE law enforcement to the Gestapo, Walz should be thanking our brave law enforcement. The Department of Justice says a request for Munoz to be held after that 2022 arrest was, quote, not honored by local authorities, and Munoz was released.
Okay, so that was the same ICE agent that shot and killed Renee Good. And 6 months ago, he was in a similar incident during a stop, but he was fearing for his life because he was dragged 300 feet hanging by the side of a car. So how do you think he felt 2 days ago when one of his colleagues, asked a female driver to get out of the vehicle 3 times on 3 separate occasions? She refused. She reversed and then drove straight ahead. He does not know. It's a split-second decision. Yeah, you can see the car, veering a bit to the right, but in the initial beginning, the car is coming directly at him. That's what he sees, and he's got a split-second decision. I'm sorry. If I'm that ICE agent, she's finding 3 in the chest for me.